It's one of those things where I just wanted to pop on here and I wanted to share something that we're doing that is pretty, I'm going to say pretty radical from a standpoint of helping our customers, our local business clients, really exceed and really be ready for the future. Now, if you've heard me before, we started about 10 months ago, making sure our clients' content was ready for AI search. As we see more and more of our clients, or excuse me, more and more of us using, ChatGPT or Perplexity, whatever it might be, an AI search bot instead of a Google search engine. A search engine, not bot, to find our sources of what we're looking for, and it's just continually grown. So what we've done is, like I said, starting 10 months ago, to make sure all my staff, when we create a video or articles or social media posts, whatever it may be, we make sure that it's optimized so that it's picked up by the AI search engines. But recently, we just brought a new client aboard, and I'm going to share with you a kind of a cool process, and it may be something you're not familiar with. It's called vibe coding. And if you're not familiar with that, I'll make it really, really simple. It's basically saying, hey, I'm going to talk an idea into existence and let the AI, if you will, create the coding that produces the outcome. So I'm going to show you just briefly what we've done for the same client. But before we start, I want to share something with you that is pretty significant in what's moving forward in a typical, really nice, well cared for website, how it actually is performing against the AI engine. So let me just share a screen here real quick. And so what we see here is we see what's called an AIO analyzer. And this is a pretty cool process where I want to give everybody credit. They actually use this at AI Coachella Valley, and they have a nice program. I'm a mentor there, and I attend, and it helps help people understand AI for small business and entrepreneurs, and actually the next generation coming up on how to adapt with that. But in this situation, what I've done is I went to the client's website and I said, let's find out where she is right now. And the thing I love about this, as it says, is it analyzes how well your website performs with AI crawlers like ChatGPT, Gemini, Claude, and Perplexity. And the cool thing about it is, as it says here, it's optimized by 2025 standards. I don't think any new ones have come out. So what we did is we analyzed that current website. And as you see, it's pretty low. It's 15, meaning it's probably not going to show up. And it tells us down here what's going on right now. Technical, it's okay. This is probably the biggest thing right here, structural score. Now, this one also has, which we're removing, is it has robots text TXT, which blocks all crawlers. We'll remove that, which will make this go up, but it certainly will not, make it go off the charts and give it 100. Content score 6 of 15 because she doesn't make a lot of content. 8 out of 10 as far as the discovery score. That's really nice. So what we did is we went into a product that we call Vercel, and I want to click over to that real quick. Let me change my screen. And so that really is, if you will, that's kind of our benchmark. We're saying, hey, as it is right now, her website, as we've taken over her company or as marketing, just a little over a month ago, it has a really low score when it comes to being seen outside of what I'm calling the SEO or Google type of search. So what we wanted to do is said, well, do we rebuild her website, or do we create something that's alongside that is already AI optimized? And our choice was to say, hey, let's take this and let's optimize it. And just pull up a screen here. Okay. So this is a product that we use. It's called Vercel, and Vercel is allowing us to basically, again, like I said, kind of talk this into existence. Now, I'm not going to go through how to teach you how to do this. I just want to show you how cool this really is. And what we've done is we created. I've used a prompt. It's a very in-depth prompt that what we did is we said, hey, we gathered the information for, in this case, Brenda Devlin and her real estate company. We had a little form that she filled out, about 15 or 18 questions. We fed that into Vercel along with the prompt, if you will, as far as, hey, what do you want it to do? Because here's the thing, these LLMs, or in this case, Vercel, they are incredibly smart, but they still have to have some direction. So what we did is we give them all the information about her company, and then we said, hey, let's create a website that is optimized for AI search engines. And so it runs through there, and I just want to show you now what happened is it went through, and in about, oh gosh, maybe an hour's worth of time, we created a new website for. And I'm just going to pull this up real quick again. Here we go. And so this is her website, Brenda Devlin Real Estate, and it's alongside. If you notice what it is, it says Brenda-Devlin-Real Estate at vercelapp.com. That's where we host it, is on Vercel. So what it is instead of replacing her website, because she's been doing her business for 20 plus years, and we don't want to disrupt that, if you will, that Google juice that she has, but we do want to give her more power when it comes to search, as far as the AI engines are concerned. So what we did is we built this website so it's AI optimized. Now, one of the things that most people look at and say, wow, it's not as pretty as her other website. So if you went to brendadevlin.com and you looked at her website, it has a lot more pictures and things like that on there. The search engines for AI really don't care that much about that. They're more, I would say, text driven. So what we did is we built this website based on our prompt, based on the information we drew in from her, and it created this. So let's just, for the heck of it, let's now take this and let's go back over to our analyzer and let's see how it did. Remember, the original one had a score of 15, and we're going to redo this and check it out and look at this analyzer and say, so there was her 15. So now let's put in her new website and analyze that. Wow. 84. Now, in the world of what we're talking about, an 84 is extremely good. In other words, it's going to perform really, really well. So if we look down here, remember her structure score was like 5 of 25. This is 20 of 25. So it's continually getting better. Her content score, because again, her website, when we took over, she didn't have a lot of blogs on there. And so we started creating the blogs on there, and her discovery score, we're working on this as well. But what we're seeing is her number is much, much higher. Now, the cool part about this is we can also do troubleshooting on this particular website and feed it back into Vercel and further improve it. We did this several times for her to the point where we said, hey, 84 was really our max number. But what we wanted to look at is say, okay, now we have her content, we have we have her website built, but we want to build some content. So what I did is I went back into Vercel and I said, oh, wait a minute. Some people are asking. Yeah. So if you wanted to test your own website, you would go to AICoachellavalley.com. And to do that research, or to do that examination of your website, if you will test it, there's no charge for that. You can put that information in there, and you can get a readout of that. Now, if you're interested in, hey, now I need to make an AI ready website, does SwingPoint Media do that? Yes. And you can go to swingpointmedia.com, or you can actually reach out to me. I'll put it on the screen here in a minute. But anyway, so now what we did is said, okay, we want to create some content for this website, because as it is right now, it doesn't have any content, and we wanted to add content. So let me bring this up for a second. And what we did, let's see. So what we did is, if you notice, it says 20 of 25. Well, we want to improve that, and let's just stop that and add this other screen. And so over here in Cursor, and this is the cool part about this. Um, I went back in and I spoke to it and I said, "Hey, I'd like you to build." Let me go back to where I started talking. I said, "Hey, I'd like you to build 5 new blog posts for this website that is optimized." And it says right up here, please create 5 new blog posts that are highly SEO and GEO optimized and make sure to add inviting call to action to contact Brenda. And so that's all I asked. And it started doing its thing. And it went through here, building, building, building. And it came back and it says, okay, here's your 5 blog posts. Why Palm Desert is a perfect for golf lovers. Buying your dream home in the Coachella Valley, 2026 buyer's guide. So it's right up front there. The top 5 neighborhoods in Palm Desert, neighborhood comparisons, investing in desert real estate, investment strategy guide, moving to Palm Desert. So these are highly optimized and searched pieces of content. And then it went through and it actually wrote all the pieces of content. So now it tells me, and this is literally in just about 15 minutes, it has now created 5 SEO and GEO optimized blog posts. So it goes back there and says, hey, this is what we've done. And now if we go back over to this new website, let me go back here again. And let's go to the website that is here. Okay. So now we did this. And again, this is a live broadcast. So that's why I wanted to do this is if we do this, we said, okay, when we first built the website, we put 5 articles on there. All right. So there's a 2024 buying your home Palm Desert. But then here comes the new ones. Okay. The ones we're just talking about. Why Palm Desert is the unlimited golf paradise 2025 guide. And it has all the information there. So there's 5 more articles to make sure that that is done. Now, the other thing we're going to do, because we already knew that her existing website was that's on WordPress, we already knew that that website was, I'm going to say, not optimized for AI search engines. So now we're going to take those same articles and we'll not only put them on her website that is AI optimized, but we'll also put it on her WordPress website. So we're getting a little double juice there, and we'll add some images and whatnot. The reason I'm showing this you today, and somebody asked, what do we use for that? This is called Cursor that we use. That's the vibe coding tool we use. And you might have heard things like Lovable or Bolt.new. Those are all vibe coding tools. This is just, in my opinion, this is a lot more transportable. In other words, once it's built over in Cursor, then it uses a product called GitHub. And think of that almost like a hose on your house, transferring water from your house to wherever you want it to go. In this case, we moved it to Vercel. So GitHub is that connector point. And so whenever we build it in Vercel, in Cursor, it is not automatically live. It's ready now to be pushed through GitHub into whatever that is. And in this case, it's a website for our client, Brenda Devlin. And so with this allows us to quickly update this website. And that's what gives us such a high score, which is really, really important, because some of the terminology that people would put into their phones and AI are going to be different results than what they're going to get if they're using SEO like Google. Now, the cool part about this is if you notice, I said SEO and GEO, generative engine optimization. I did both of those. So it's not leaving one behind and saying, hey, we're only going to do it for this. We're not going to do it for this. If you optimize your content or your website for GEO, you're going to get the benefit on the SEO part as well. Here's the thing, and I'm going to wrap up with this. It's not just a day of keywords anymore, because we ask questions. We ask long-term phrases of like, I'm looking for a real estate agent who handles golf course community homes for sale. behind a gate that's, in Palm Desert as an example. And I live here in the Coachella Valley, so that's why I say Palm Desert. Well, what that does is now, just like, if you will, Google would go out there and search all this and give you a whole bunch of responses, where now AI will go out there and it will gather all the data it can find. If we left her website just as it is, and we didn't build this side by side, if you will, this parallel website that complements, it doesn't take away, it complements her current website, then what would happen is her content wouldn't show up. No matter how hard she worked, 28 years or 23 years in the business, it wouldn't make any difference. And thousands of homes she sold and all kinds of awards. None of that stuff would be seen because her website is not optimized for that. So what does that mean? Well, I think that means going forward that we have to be thinking about this. When I say we as business owners, local business owners, who we are probably the most vulnerable, that we don't have websites that are optimized for AI. And there's no doubt in my mind, and that ask yourself, are you using AI very much right now? Are you asking it questions? Well, that's really, you're leveraging the AI search engine, and you can see when it comes back, when it's searched the web and all the content out there. Our goal is to make sure you are the resource for that. In this case, Brenda Devlin, for her real estate and anything around that is specific to her ideal market. So in closing out, I want to recommend that you do one thing. I'd like you to go back to AICV, or excuse me, AICoachellavalley.com, and test your website. Find out, hey, how am I doing? And is it something, and here's the thing, if you just depend on SEO to get your website found, it's not going to be as effective as it is if you say GEO. And the big thing about this are things like structured content. And structured content, in a real basic thing, it says, hey, here's the headline, there's a headline. Here's this, here's this. Here's a subtopic, it's structured. So that what happens is when the AI engines come in to search this, it's very easy for them to understand what every piece of content is, or every line is. And the better you do at that, the more it shows up. It's called structured content. The other thing is, if you don't have your prices on your website, and we as customers are saying, hey, how much does it cost for, and fill in the blank, and you don't have that on your website, then that is a strike against you, because it's like, oh, you're trying to hide something. And I know some people say, well, our prices vary. Well, give a variation. The other thing is a comparison. Hey, how do you compare to your competitors out there? That's a beautiful thing to do. We just did this for a client, and we just added to our website. We're not sure if we're going to make it live, or excuse me, if it's a hidden page or not. But the cool thing about that is, even if it's a hidden page, guess what? Guess who will see it? The search engines. So when somebody's looking for something in her field and there's a comparison, well, how do you compare against, the 5 other people that do this in my area? And we already have a structured table and an article and a whole page around that. The chances are that's going to show up, and she's going to be found. And of course, when we did the comparison, her company finished top. And it was a fair comparison, my point is. So you have that. The other thing that you want to make sure you do is frequently ask questions. And they use something called schema. And basically it's like a template for each one of these. And again, it's easier for not just AEO or GEO to see it, the engines, but also for SEO. So I think it's a good thing to do, to use structured content, comparisons, FAQs, and schemas whenever you do this. The other thing, and this is something we're working on, and there was always this yes and no kind of thing. We use a lot of video, and video is very, very highly desired by us, and it's proven by YouTube. It's still now, it's the number one place where we go for content is on YouTube. But the one thing that misses if we put a lot of video content on a client's website, right now, as of January 3rd, January 3rd, I had to make sure where I'm at, January 3rd, the search engines for AI are not able to understand what's being said in that. Because of that, we're now putting a transcript at the bottom of every page where we typically we create a blog every week with a video, and then we're going to transcribe that video and put it at the bottom. What that allows the search engines to do is to validate what's in and read what's in that video. And again, that's just more credibility for that page and that site. So anyway, so I just want to jump in here and share a couple things with you. The big thing was I was talking about vibe coding, and this is like talking something into existence, whether it's an app, it's a tool, it's a workflow, whatever it may be. And I'm using a product called Cursor. Cursor is just, I'm going to say it's a couple levels up from something like Base 44 or Lovable or Bolt.new. You can use any of those. And if you have never done that before, check it out. And then I'm using I'm going to say the platform to host the finished product. I'm using that in Vercel. And the last thing is the connection point with that is GitHub. And again, if you're not familiar with this, it doesn't require you to be a coding expert. This is one thing I love about Cursor. Cursor is one of those programs that before it gives me or before it puts it out on the internet, it will self-check, and it will, by the time I get it, it's already checked it out to make sure that it is correct. So it means I don't have to be a coding expert, but I can go back in just like I did with Brenda and say, hey, okay, we have five pieces of content on her website when it first launched the website. But now I want to add 5 more pieces of content on her website. So what I did is I opened up her, it's called a repository in Vercel, or excuse me, in Cursor. And I said, hey, I want to add now 5 more blog posts to that website. And as you saw in just a few minutes, all of a sudden I had 5 more blog posts on that website. So if you're not playing with that, I'd recommend jumping in there and testing it out. And if you want to know more, hey, you can reach out to me. I'm Jeff at SwingPoint Media. Jeff at SwingPoint Media. I'd love to hear from you. And hey, have a great Saturday. Thanks for joining me.